Wuz good? It is Monday on our side of things. We always record on Mondays. So here we are again. And obviously today is Christopher Columbus Day, which is why we're dressed up like this. Just playing. Happy Halloween. This is Raymond Acosta. And over there is he looks cold. He's a cold gentleman. What's going on? What's going on, E? Or is that E? I don't know. Did you just slip out and put somebody else up in here? What's good, E? How was the weekend? Is your mic working? Oh, there he is.
There it is.
Okay, I thought he was giving me a silent treatment. Anyways, run it back. What's good?
Yo.
The whole time you're on mute.
I know. I was talking too, so you can't even tell because my mask is on and everything. But yeah, my costume is, I'm Jack. But as soon as I take it off, you can just call me Jack off.
And when you take the jacket off, it's gonna be jacket off.
Jack it off. Yeah. But no, it's good. How's everything over there on your end?
It's getting chillier. It's getting chillier. We've got a 3-day cold snap here, which is like, it's about like low 30s in the morning. So that's that's dang chilly over here. But it's gonna start warming up towards the towards the middle to the end of the week. It'll be around like the 70s again. How's the weather over there? Are the kids gonna be trick-or-treating with their umbrellas out again?
No, actually it's gonna be clear tomorrow, but it's gonna be hella cold. Like hella cold. I think when the sun goes down, it's gonna be around 36 degrees, damn near freezing.
Yeah. That's the Halloween that I remember.
I hate it.
Usually when there's no cloud cover, that's when it starts. You start getting that snap cold.
Yeah. As soon as you get out there, if you don't have hand warmers, gloves, nothing out there, bubble jacket, you're gonna want to go back inside and be like, kids, that's it for today. No more candy, no more trick or treat. But no, you gotta suck it up for them though. Just one time.
Yeah.
It only happens once a year, so
We'll see how that goes for them though. I mean, just there's a certain kind of like time that what happened to my mic? There's only a certain amount of time that they can actually be out there before they start getting all weird. I don't know. Or until the bag breaks. Remember when they have the Kroger or the Safeway bag out there and then it starts breaking when it's super heavy and you got to carry it from it and it just snaps in the
from the bottom. Hold it from the bottom like this. It's just kind of hairy. You have to get to the car. If it was raining and you had a paper bag, that's a wrap. Your candy's gonna be on the floor by like the second house.
Man, especially if you're in the good neighborhood. You know the good neighborhood. You have to drive there just to go trick or treating there. Get the good neighborhood. You got the big full size candy bars. You get like double grabs of the Reese's Pieces.
Man, full size candy bars. But sometimes there's them little bougie houses around here. I know there's one around my neighborhood that doesn't give out candy. They give out like little Bibles or something like that. They're like, oh, this is not today, Satan kind of post.
Toothbrushes and candy corn. That's what you get. Oh my god! Yeah.
And then the other house, they give you like popcorn bags. Like, oh, here you go. I ain't got no candy, but you can take some of this popcorn so I can pop it when you get home. It's like, all right, man, let's go.
Yeah, thank you to those houses that actually do the extra stuff. I mean, you come up and sometimes they got the hot cocoa and maybe a little shot with the parents, a little bit of a just hang out and have a couple of wine glasses with them. Yeah. I appreciate those.
Yeah, that's what they do though. A lot of the kids' parents out here, we get together. We meet at my cousin's house, which is just up the street. Everybody has their little mugs and stuff like that. Either got coffee or got drink. Nice. Mine will have drink because I don't really drink coffee, so I'm like trying to use it to keep warm and tolerate the kids in the same time.
Yeah, that works. Remember, did you guys trick or treat during COVID?
Nah, I don't think so. Not that I could remember.
That was frustrating for us. Well, just because the kids, I mean, you gotta sit there, you got the mask under the mask. I didn't know what the rules were around there.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
Yep.
And they're
I
sitting
do
there
remember
just
that.
like had the mask on the whole time, and you thought that was ample. And plus, you're out there, you got enough
Hmm.
spacings and everything like that. But it just, still see some of these kids suffering, man, with these masks.
Yeah,
And I'm
mask
like,
over a mask. Yeah.
yeah, there was like a year everybody was a ninja. Dang. I'm
Yeah.
glad that thing's over. I felt bad for mine because he sat there and I kept telling him, put your mask on. I think it was a ninja. There was a point where
Yeah.
he just all of a sudden decided he's going to be a ninja for like 2 or 3 years.
If I could remember during that time, I think they just left the candy out, and it was
Mm-hmm.
just like grab it for yourself. Most of the houses, I think they had hand sanitizers and other masks that you could use and gloves, but they
Mm-hmm.
weren't really opening doors for nobody.
Yeah, I was still towards the tail end of that.
Hmm.
It was still a little spooky with the COVID. Did you oh, so you didn't you said you don't remember trick or treating that year, but did you do a lot of trick or treating when you were a kid? Or was
Yeah,
that kind of
man, I
like,
had the same
yeah,
costume for like 4 or 5 years. No, actually, I had the same costume from kindergarten all the way to fifth grade.
dang. Did you just
Yeah,
reuse the dang thing, started
just
riding up like high waters on what were you?
yeah, man. No, I just had a.
Chucky, what were you?
I was Dracula, so I had the cape that I used every year.
Dang.
And then my aunt used to just paint my face with white, and then give
Uh-huh.
me the little widow's peak, and then I had the little plastic
Yeah.
fangs.
Screw
Yeah,
it.
that was about it. But
At what
then
age did
again,
good?
that cape, I used it like year round. I thought I was a superhero with that cape, man. I did not put that away. Costume, put it on as soon as I get home from school. I'm a whole different kid.
Oh man, your parents got your money's worth with that costume. Good for you, man. Because these kids, I mean, these costumes are, oh,
Man,
they're
they
like
bank.
$50 for some flimsy ass stuff, man. So good for you
Man,
for
they get
recycling.
flimsier every year, I feel
Hmm.
like.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And more expensive, more expensive.
Yeah, yeah, inflation for sure. Because I know my son, he wants to be
Inflation for
something.
costumes.
Yeah, but I know my son wants to be something different every year. So if I can
Hmm.
remember, he was PJ Masks one time around
Hmm.
here,
Hmm.
and then he was Harry Potter. Then I think the year after that, he was Ghostbusters.
Mm. Oh,
I think he was Peter
okay.
Venkman. I can't remember. And then this
Oh,
year,
old school
yeah,
one.
this year he made his own mask. He got like really creative and
Oh, shoot.
he made a mask from The Nightmare Before Christmas with this guy, one of the characters,
He
because there's
made a
three kids, right? Yeah.
uh-huh.
So the three kids, the trick or treaters or whatever, one was like a devil, and then they had the two other kids. So he wanted to be Locke, which was the devil looking kid. So he like went to my mom's house one day,
Hmm.
picked him up the next morning. He had this cardboard mask on. From like, I mean, it's pretty. I wish I could find it, but yeah, that's what he's gonna be this year. He's like, Dad, I just need a red hoodie and some red pants. And that's it. I was like, No, your mom bought you this mask. You're gonna be Jack.
Hmm. I
So yeah.
had, let's see, I don't need. I don't remember doing a lot of trick or treating. When I did, and I had a wolf mask, and it was just, I didn't really try as hard. I just wanted some free candy, and just that was it. And
Mhm.
when I would go out there, I didn't really have a lot of homies back then that I would go trick or treating with, because I went to school at around that trick or treating age, maybe like around sixth grade or something like that, fifth, sixth grade or something like that. And I went to school up north, which was about like 30 minutes, 40 minutes from my house. And a lot of the kids actually lived up there. So I didn't really do a lot of trick or treating. And in my neighborhood wasn't trick or treating status.
Mhm.
It was more bag snatching. You're either going to be snatched or you're going to be the one, snatch in. So
Mhm.
that was kind of my thought with it. I didn't even have a bag when I went to doors. I used to just put it in my pocket. I was trick or treat, and I'll just put it straight in my pocket and look around and be like, nobody saw that, right?
Yeah, that was the thing back in
Nobody's
the
going to
day.
take my
Yeah.
now and laters.
Yeah, man. That's crazy that was an option. Like you could be the trick or treater or
Hmm.
you could be the bag jacker.
Yeah, bro. That
You
was
know?
90s. Like,
Oh
yeah. So
boy, yeah.
what age did you stop? Are you still you still trick or treating now?
Man, I think high school. 'Cause I remember
High
going
school?
trick or treatings with the homies. Yeah, as soon as they got a car, we were just going out to
That
wherever
was it.
place and just trying to kill time or just trying to find something to do. But it became like more of the partying, like going to like Halloween parties and stuff, dressing
Hmm.
up and kicking it instead of like the trick or treating and stuff like that. But
Yeah,
look at
and
us now as parents, full circle, taking our kids trick or treating.
yeah, it's the good stuff. I don't mean I think the nice thing is though is that the candy really hasn't changed a whole lot, which I could
Mm-mm.
still, other
Mm-hmm.
than like a lot of a lot more sour candies nowadays, but you still see the OGs. You still see the Kit Kats and
Mm-hmm.
your freaking Twix bars, and I love those houses with the full on Twix. And I start taking a look, as soon as my son says my bag's getting too heavy, and just go in there, and I start holding the bag, and I'll start reaching in the bag. I'm like, yep,
Mm-hmm.
I'll take some collateral here, buddy. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm glad the candy really hasn't changed. What's your jam on the candy? What was yours? Your favorite?
Mm, I was like a chocolate person, so I was always
Mm-hmm.
looking forward for the Twix and the Snickers bars, the Reese's Pieces,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
what else did I like? Oh, and the Skittles too. So if they had Skittles, like the little mini bags of Skittles, yeah, I was always
Mm-hmm.
looking for those. Those were pretty good too. But my least favorite that I always hated was those candy corn ones. They're like red, or they're like
Uh,
orange, yellow, and white, and it just tastes
yeah.
super waxy.
I
I
don't know
hate those,
anyone that
man.
likes them, and if they are, they need treatment. Because
Mm-mm.
I don't know about those. Like, what are those? It's yeah, like you said, it's waxy. It's like you can light
Mm-hmm.
it and stay warm for an hour. Like, and that and the Tootsie Rolls. I fell off quick off the Tootsie Rolls because you
Mm.
already know they've been sitting there for like a couple years.
Yeah.
I just wasn't a big fan of the Tootsie Rolls,
And they
unless it was
started coming
the
out with the
apple one.
flavored ones, right? The
Yeah,
flavored ones. Yeah,
I think the
those was
apple one was
okay.
actually pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then and then you had the stale gum. You had the
Oh
stale.
yeah, those are the whack ones, like the pink
Those are
ones.
the
The
weakest.
what is it? The ones that came in the yellow wrappers and they were pink and they were hard
Mm-hmm.
and they just
Hold
came
on.
like in
Yeah.
this weird shape. I don't know. I don't know what it's
Oh yeah,
called,
yeah,
but
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. No, I know what you're talking about. They were like in a square, basically.
yeah, square, round, whatever shape it was. But yeah, those were the worst gums ever. It's like the gums that came in a flat version of the ones that were in the baseball cards back in the day. Remember how they used to
Mm-hmm.
do that?
Mm-hmm. And those
Yeah,
were
I
the
think that was
worst.
like a different version of that gum.
I think they were probably the same makers, just because it was the same consistency. You sat there, you chewed on them, and they would just crackle in your mouth. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, all right, well, I mean, it's gum, so it's got to be good. So we got some news over the weekend. Also, the Mr. Perry is no longer with us on this earth. Rest in peace, Mr. Matt. Like that, and of course, it's with him going so early. It's
Mm-hmm.
drawing a lot of questions and interest as far as people kind of just deep diving into what's going on. And of course, there's a lot of little theories out there, and you know, we as much as we want to be very sensitive to his situation and in passing, there's still
Mm-hmm.
a lot of questions, and the fact that people are asking questions and looking deeper into this thing just shows how much people actually really like the guy.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I know
I agree.
you saw a few things.
I saw a
Yeah,
few things that had me kind of questioning, but like you said, it's
yeah,
too soon. Got
it's
to
too
let
soon.
their family grieve and stuff like that before we can even speak upon it. I mean, there was no foul play, but it's just the way he went out. People
Yeah,
are scratching their heads like,
just
hmm,
weird stuff leading up to it. A lot of the
mm-hmm,
Insta posts.
mm-hmm.
I mean, we're not the first media that's actually putting out this thought of like, hey, what the heck's going on and everything. I mean, we're just consumers of what people are thinking out there and what everybody else is kind of thinking, and it just makes you scratch your head. It's like, what really happened to Matt? Seemed
Yeah,
like he was doing kind of okay there. Yeah.
yeah. But I guess he was dealing with a little bit of struggles though, as far as with like
Mm-hmm.
alcohol and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. I didn't know, but we never know. We're not like in touch with this person every day and keeping up. Like, hey, Matt, how's it going? Stuff like that. And then all of a sudden,
Yeah.
you just hear that he was going through a whole bunch of therapy. He was going to counseling for like drinking and stuff like that, and just trying to get his mind right, his mental right. But like, I don't know, man. It's
That's
very
rough.
unfortunate that he had to
It's
pass the
rough.
way
I
he
mean,
did at
considering also
40.
that during the writer strike and everything like that. So I'm sure there's so many things, so many little factors. You don't know, at the end of the day, you really don't know what anyone is going through. I mean, we're
Mm-mm.
like, the world is hurting right now. Everybody's hurting. Everybody's kind of just struggling to
Yeah.
put on a face, man. And I think, with it being Halloween and wearing masks sometimes, I think that's why people like dressing up. But for us, we're not
Mm.
dressed up just to put a mask on. I think, we're still thriving somewhat, like, in the family side of things. I think, you got good things on your end, and you're trying to put things together, and we're just living day by day.
Day by day.
Yeah.
Yep.
But so on the Halloween tip, I wanted to, we were chatting on the side. I was like, man, what are we gonna do? What are we, we don't want to I didn't want to get into anything too deep in this episode, just because I don't want to sit here talking about something too crazy with the dang panda outfit on. And that's why I got the glasses. I can't even really take myself seriously. And I was like, I can't show my eyes.
I can't even breathe.
Let me have. You're like, I'm
I
gonna
don't know
hold
if I
you
sound
to.
super muffled or what.
You
I don't
better
know.
stay under there.
I'm gonna try to ride. I'm gonna ride it out.
You better keep your
Unless they
ass
want
under
to
there.
see Wet Willie.
I think we take that off for a costume break. But
Yeah.
we were talking. I was like, man, what we should do is just tell some ghost stories. Some actually not even like ghost stories of what
Mhm.
we've heard, just stuff that we went through. Because I got stories. Like I'm one of those
Yeah.
kids that grew up. I came from PI when I was 6, and when I came here, I like many have a very religious grandma that lived in the province, like grew up in the province, so she's seen some stuff too. And I know
Yeah.
he was very excited to be like, man, I got some stories too, man. So we're gonna swap. We're gonna do some ghost story swaps. But before we get into that, wanted to quickly just make a real quick announcement. We're moving a lot of things towards YouTube right now, because I know we've got a very strong presence in and building in Instagram. Very thankful for all the people that's actually followed us on there. Individually, we are very, I myself and E have tried to reach out, just send some messages out, just that we appreciate people are following us. But that's pretty much our strongest social, and a lot of our longer videos are on YouTube. We'd like for you to join us over there, and I know maybe you take a view at it and everything like that, take a peek. But we'd really appreciate it, as far as the folks that are currently on Insta with us. Go ahead and switch on over. If you can give us a quick tap on the subscribe button over there and the like button, because we are planning quite a few things. We want to go live. We want to go live and chat with everybody over there. Instagram's not the best platform for that. We don't want to switch over to Twitch, and I don't think a lot of people are on X, formerly known as Twitter. That's actually a good place if they got Twitter Spaces over there. But no, YouTube's the joint, and we want to go over there, do some lives. So if you can help us out, switch on over there. Give us maybe like 30 seconds of your time. Just click it real quick and like the video, and we'll make it worth your while. Because if we get what I'm thinking, I was talking to you about this. If we get to 500 subscribers, let's say 515 subscribers, let's put a buffer on there. If we can get that, then we'll do a giveaway. Next week I'll show you what we are looking at. It's not gonna be anything cheap, but I'll make it worth the while. We'll do a giveaway if we get to 500, and we'll figure out how to get it out to you. Right, because I know E's working hard in the socials over there. I know you guys are feeling his reaction vids. We'll get a little bit more of those out there. Surprisingly, even my wife was like, dang, he does good on those things. He's got a little infectious laughter. You should laugh more.
I try to laugh as much as I can.
I know. I see some of the stuff you're posting. Yeah. Yes,
yeah.
He goes nutty on those things. The little stripper that fell on her butt, and he walking in with some dollar bills. I was like, oh, that's creative.
Yo, man, if I would have saw that live, I think I might have just had a helper or something. I don't know. Everybody was just watching her because she was
think we would have
really up there.
cheered.
I gotta say, she was probably like 12, 15 feet up in the air.
I'll tell you, it all depends. If you saw that in Seattle's nightclub, you would probably be a little concerned because you wouldn't have a whole lot of alcohol in your system. If you were in Miami or like in Portland, sauced up, I think you probably would have just been like, oops, and start laughing or something. You never know.
Oh.
You just, because it's just different vibes, different type of gentlemen's clubs.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
Different.
I wouldn't know. I don't know. I'm just
different places for different people, I guess, man.
I've seen it online.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, man. YouTube, check this out. We're hoping to get 500 subscribers. Give us a little click. But anyways, let's switch over. E, I think so. You got, I don't even know how to start this. I think you can just give me just start off with a personal account. Like with your, man, you're already tripping me out with that mask. So back it up with something creepy.
Man, it gets creepy, man. I don't know. Like you said, like having just that Filipino culture in your background and the stories that you hear from your elders, your aunts, your uncles, your grandpas, your grandmas, and stuff like that. Even your older brothers or anything like that.
Yeah, bro.
Man, it goes down in the Philippines, you know, and one thing that I remember when I went back home is was my mom was like, "Don't stay out too late or hang out by the trees," right?
Mm-hmm.
And I go, "Why?" She goes, just be careful because there's a lot of fairies out there, right? So you got to be careful where you step and be careful what you lean on, right? Because in the Philippines, there's just this folk story about this guy. He's very tall and he has like a really bad odor. And if you smell something in there, you know, or out in the field or whatever, you know that
Mm-hmm.
it's close. And what they call that guy is the Capri, right? So one time in
Mm-hmm.
the Philippines, I was playing, yeah, and I just remember smelling something really, really funky.
Oh.
And you know, because this was in the province. So being in the province, you know, there's not a lot of electricity too. So we're in the fields, it's dark. I think we were chasing frogs at a time, me and my cousins. And then all of a sudden he like stopped and like looked up at this tree. And then the story goes if you smell like smoke or foul odor, that's the Capri, right? It's just
Mm-hmm.
hanging around. And you know, I'm getting like really curious because I'm remembering the stuff that my mom is telling me. You know,
Uh-huh.
being from America, I'm just like, ah, yeah, that's fake, whatever, you know.
You remember how
But
old you were?
I was about like 6 or 7.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So like you know, I'm challenging everything in my head. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not scared of that. It's whatever. It's fake story.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
But my cousin, you know, like we're running towards this tree, yeah, towards this tree, and he like stops. He's like, man, do not move and do not go towards that area right
Bro.
there, right?
Hell no.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I was like, why? What is it? He's like, man, I think we should just go back. I was like, but me, I was like, no, no, no. I was like, nah, there ain't nothing there. Come on, let's just go. And he's like pulling on my shirt. He's like, no, we should go.
Uh-uh.
And so we take one step closer, and then like I heard something ruffling in the trees, right? And he's like staring up, and I'm just
Oh
like,
shit.
oh, I look
Hella
at him, I was like,
tall.
what you looking at? Yeah, and I look up with him, I was like this, slow motion. And it could have been my imagination messing with me, right? But I could smell like cigarette smoke. So you know, everybody smokes in the
The
Philippines.
hell?
Yeah, because you know he has a pipe or whatever. I don't know what he's smoking, but then it started to smell really funny. And then I'm walking, yeah, I'm walking towards it, and I'm just like, oh shit. I look up, and then I swear I just saw like a silhouette of a like a tall person like leaned up on the
Up on
tree,
the
like
tree?
yeah, like leaned up with
Chilling?
his pipe, just looking down. I was like, oh, and
The
then all of a
hell,
sudden,
bro?
yeah, and then all of a sudden, I guess it was like the bullfrog that we were chasing runs by, and I thought it was the Capri trying to come towards me, so we just started booking. It was like,
Oh my
oh,
goodness.
just yelling, and like my mom was like, what happened? What happened? He's like, mom, I think we saw the Capri. He's like, I told you not to go out there. I told you not to go out there. He's like, where was your cousin?
Oh
He's like,
god.
he
He's
was telling me to
gone.
go, but I wasn't listening, and he got in trouble because you know
Oh
we were
my
all screaming
goodness.
and yelling and stuff. Hell, lit at night, you know,
This
waking
was
up the
at
elders.
6. Oh my goodness. No, so for those who don't like it's for those who don't really know about just kind of like the Philippines status, you have to understand Philippines is an island in the South Pacific. And it's not just an island, it's like hundreds and it's thousands of islands, right? And it's not only there in the South Pacific and just the South. It's right by, not too far off from where the Mariana Trench is, the lowest point pretty much discovered or known on the planet Earth. So anything like it's just right there, and you never know what's gonna come up and just swim up or even like exist around that area, right? So when you say you're in the province is pretty much like if you're looking at Southeast Asia, that Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam area, you're still looking at kind of just you're part of a bigger type of, because China's just right up north, Mongolia is right up north. We're talking about islands that is in like your provinces is on an island in the middle of the South Pacific, right by the deepest point of the world. So now, with that being prefaced, then you got then people that's been there, and very religious people and spiritual people that have believed on these things because they've seen it ever since they've been born, ever since, and their grandparents and great grandparents. So if you were to say that something like that kind of existed here in the US, it's kind of like, okay, it's hard to believe sometimes. But when you're talking about island in the South Pacific, Anything,
Mhm.
it's a free for all, bro. Like
Mhm.
Guam is like that, Guam and Indonesia and everything like that. But I'm talking about the Philippines. Philippines is 1,000 islands, so that's why there's so many stories. Like I mean, some of the monsters that come out of there that they talk about, it's a little trippy. It's a little
Mhm.
like unbelievable sometimes because one of the ones is what I think it's called the Manananggal, right? Have you
Mhm.
heard of that?
I think I have.
So Manananggal is basically
Oh, those are little
what
people, like the dwarfs.
no, those are duendes. The
Oh yeah,
duendes are like
okay.
just little people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So the Mananangals are basically just it's basically human beings. And please somebody correct me eventually, like once this goes live. But they're what they are, they're human, they're regular humans, but then at nights they go to an altar, or they go to an altar, and they basically separate the bottom half of their body from the
mm,
top, and the
mhm.
bottom half of the body actually stays at the altar, and the top, I believe,
It
grows
flies.
like wings and it flies, right?
Mhm.
And what they do is they feed on pregnant women's babies.
Mhm.
And that's the trippiest part, because they basically, there's some movies that came out of this thing, is they'll fly up on top of, like, they call them cubos,
Mhm.
which is like small straw houses down there, because it's in the province.
Mhm.
So they'll go there on the top, and they've got super long tongues. They basically just attack the baby, and they
Mhm.
go up in the belly and just attack the baby. So it's a very morbid monster. It's like, what the heck are
Yeah.
you doing? And the way to actually kill that is you find the bottom half of the body, and you pour like salt on it or something like that, and
Damn.
that'll kill the whole thing. So
Yeah.
that's one of them. I've heard of it's capre, the
Yeah.
tall one. I don't know. I didn't
Mhm.
know about the cigar. It sounds like Will Chamberlain for a minute. I was like,
Yeah.
my
They be
man's just
smoking,
sitting
man,
out there
against
by
the
the
tree and
tree.
just lean back. Yeah.
Damn, they got y'all.
They got
But
it.
then
He got
there's
scared, man. I was
that's
like
trippy,
tripping.
bro.
I
That's
swear, I swear,
trippy.
I saw it. I was like, oh man, we gotta go. If it
That's
wasn't for
trippy.
that noise, that bullfrog or whatever, it felt like it was coming
Uh-huh.
to,
Uh-huh.
dude. I felt like it just leaned and was gonna come towards us, but it was really, I don't know. It could have been it or the frog, whatever noise we heard. We just booked. We're like, man, we got to get back inside this house, man. We're about to get in
Mhm.
trouble for yelling and shit. I was like, oh my god, dude. I was never been so spooked at 7 years old. Just imagine, because you're a kid and your imagination just runs wild, especially when you're in the
Oh, of
dark.
course. Oh,
When it's
especially when
dark,
you've been told. It's just that
yeah.
suggestion of being out there. Be like, oh shit, something's gonna go down here. It's like
Mm-hmm.
anything's gonna go down. But yeah, you're talking about the duendes. The duendes are the ones, they basically super little, like elves and gnomes and
Yeah,
all that stuff,
yeah.
right? And
So
then
you got to
there's
be
the
careful about those. So if
oh
you're like in like a village or whatever, and you
mhm.
like are walking around, you got to say like kayu,
Yeah, kayo
so
kayo,
that
which
way,
means
yeah.
excuse me, or like, hey, I'm coming through, so you
Yep,
don't
I'm
step
coming
on
through.
them.
Because if
Yeah,
you
and you
don't, they'll put like a curse on you, or they'll make you get sick. You'll get like rashes and stuff like that. And you
yeah,
gotta find that special duende or and tell them like, oh, we're sorry. We didn't
yeah,
mean to do
yeah.
that, and apologize, and then they will heal you.
Yeah, you go out there, and they call it atang, which is basically you bring some food out there, and basically you apologize. My uncle
Hmm.
was like that, like over here in the U.S. And my again, they come over here. Our parents and grandparents come over here. They have that firm belief, and it is it's belief, and you just got to respect it. And that's it's true it's very real to them. And when my grandpa has always been a farmer, and when he came to Seattle, when they finally moved back to Seattle here from Yakima, he was out there. He was You're not supposed to be out there late in the evening,
Yeah.
or like early evening type of a thing, and digging around, because you might hurt something. And that's what happened. It's like one time my grandpa, like, was just normal. Just he was out there, and he goes inside, and then all of a sudden he wakes up the next morning. His leg is almost twice the size of his other. I was like,
Oh
what
my
the
gosh.
hell were you doing out there? And then so my grandma was like, oh, you probably just bothered some duendes. And then my grandma is very, she's always been that lady. It's just like, I'm gonna go out there and talk to them. And it's a lot of times you're like, yeah, if you didn't know her, if you didn't know her background, if you haven't heard the stories that she's actually told, you'd be like, the lady's a little crazy. But she
Hmm.
had her background, and she would go out there and kind of say prayers and all this stuff. She was very spiritual and believed all that stuff. You ever seen a ghost? You
Man,
ever had a ghost incident?
I have. I've like
Yeah.
naturally who are like what I be feeling, and it's like a religious thing also. They say that I got a gift or whatnot. I'm a natural empath, but I kind of keep that on the
Mhm,
low
mhm.
just because it does freak people out, especially when you're super religious, right? And
Yeah.
now when you're dealing with religion, now you got entities like like demons and stuff like that, and then you got God, right? As another the positive side of the entities. But now with what my gift
Mhm.
is, I'm able to feel them. I'm like, okay,
That's wild.
yeah.
That's
So
wild.
they
Because 'cause I'll tell
do.
you the same thing. You can ask my wife, and you can ask yeah, I was told by my grandma, like, "You got it too," but then
Hmm.
it kind of dissipates if you can't like, for me, I feel like I've lost it, and I think it's for a good thing just because when I do you can tell me what you feel
Hmm.
because I'll share with you what I feel when something goes down, and I've actually, like, to the point where it's so bad, I would see shit.
Yeah.
And there's been like if you ask me like how many ghosts have you seen ghosts? It's like, dude, I've seen probably like 4 or 5. Like vaguely a couple times, but then one that was just right there. And it
Yeah.
was at the homie's house. But go ahead. So you were saying that you have this certain feeling, right? Just
Yeah.
this
So I get
disturbance.
this certain feelings. I get sick.
Mm,
And sometimes I forget, right? Like I have this gift, and there be times where I feel super anxious. I'm
mm-hmm,
like lightheaded and stuff like that. And it's crazy because it happened to me not too long ago in Hawaii. And I knew something was like kind of wanting me to see or feel or whatever, or just wanted me to know that their presence was around.
mm-hmm,
And I was telling my girl, I was like, dude, I'm not feeling good, whatever. And then
mm-hmm.
in my head it clicked. It's like, oh yeah, there's probably a
Yeah,
spirit
yeah,
around.
yeah, yeah.
And then all of a sudden this butterfly comes flying towards us, right?
Whew.
Because in our culture, a butterfly means it's a spirit visiting.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
So then I was like, oh, that's why I wasn't feeling good, because there was a spirit following me trying to attach itself. And then just to get like a little ghost wink, the butterfly came by. So I was like, okay,
mm-hmm,
that's it. And so, but my thing is, like, when I really did feel it for the first time, it was a crazy experience. During this time, my cousins from California were here, and they have this friend that's in the Bay Area. They call her Santo Nino.
mm-hmm,
So if you guys don't know what Santo Nino is basically baby Jesus, and that's who we pray to, right? So they call her for questions and answers like, okay, my son's going through this dark time, da 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 da. We need you to help. So they call her, and then she sounds normal at first, then all of a sudden her voice changes, right?
mm,
So during this time, we're having a party upstairs while they're doing a prayer, but I'm getting really faded, and something is telling me to go downstairs. So I'm just like walking down there, and there I see my sister, my aunt's praying, and
yeah.
the lady who sent the Nino was on the phone. And I'm sitting there, I start laughing, right? I just start giggling. I'm just like, you know what? Nothing's gonna help you guys. And my sister was like, "What are you talking about?" And so I sit down right where they're doing the prayer. I sit down right next to them, and I go, "They're here," you know. And she's like, "What are you talking about? Who's here?" I was like, "You're looking for an answer that you guys can't figure out what's happening. They're here."
Mhm,
And then all of a
mhm,
sudden, like I guess the whatever it was, that dark entity that was following my nephew, that was it had came into me, and now I'm just like in this trance, and then I'm just moving back and forth. And during
mhm.
this time, they're asking me questions like, "Who are you?" And it's like, "You guys can't figure me out, whatever." And they're like, "You're not giving
So
out a name."
it went to you. You
It went
got
to me. So
possessed,
it's because
basically.
yeah. So this basically what my gift is. So I could harness these souls and be able to be strong enough to like, but I need someone to help me break out of it.
Mhm,
So during
mhm,
this time, they're doing a prayer, and all I remember is like there's the lady was saying, burn a candle, pour the wax on a piece of paper, and then you'll see what you guys are dealing with. And then during the whole time, my cousin was looking at me. She's like, while we were doing that prayer and melting the wax, your face was like, I know how you look like, you know what I'm saying? But
mhm,
the
mhm.
other side of your face wasn't your face. And whatever you were
Wild,
saying wasn't making
wild,
any sense at all. Yeah. And
wild.
so when that happened, I woke up from it and I was like, why am I so wet? Because they were soaking me with holy water and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, and that was just the first time. And then the second, it's happened in the same place, same house in West Seattle with my sister. And we
Mhm,
were beefing over the same thing. My mom, she's normally really cool, right? But then she starts acting really funny.
Your
And
mom was?
she was like arguing. She was like, "Your nephew, da da da," just all this stuff, just saying like he's not gonna get it. And my mom never talks like that. Like she's so loving and stuff like that. And so my sister goes, "Watch mom," because my sister has the same gift. So me and my sister are hand in hand. She's a healer, and I could see spirits. But then like when I'm not around, they go to her. So this time
Mhm.
she warns me. She goes, "Look at mom and just watch her." Right. So I'm looking at my mom. She's hella angry, just running her mouth. And then my brother's over there. My brother, just to let you guys know, he had converted over to being Christian and stuff like that. And we're a Catholic heavy family, right? So now I'm looking at my brother, and he's saying your prayers are not going to work here. Whatever you guys are doing, your prayers are not going to work,
Your
right?
brother?
Yeah, and he's staring down the hallway, and he's just saying that, and I'm like, what the hell is going on, right? So now I'm walking over to my brother. As soon as I touch my brother's shoulder, I'm like, I fall down instantly, and I could see myself. I'm having an outer body experience, like someone's in me, but I'm floating somewhere else. And I'm just yelling for my brother to come help me. It's like, dude, you gotta help me. You gotta help me. I'm like, I'm yelling, Kuya, Kuya, help me. I love you, Kuya. I'm just yelling for him. But he's so deep into whatever's a
His
hold of
trance.
him,
Yeah, yeah,
attached to
yeah.
him. He was just like, no, your guys' prayers is not gonna work here. Whatever whatever who you're praying to doesn't even exist. So basically trying to break down our faith, whatever that thing
Mhm.
was. So then my dad out of nowhere, who wasn't phased at all, I remember him smacking me with a rosary in
A
my
brother.
cheek. In the
Okay.
other hand, he had the palm of the palm leaves as it was shaped as a cross,
Uh-huh.
and you just had it against my face. And I remember like it was like burning. I was like, oh, and I just couldn't get out. I was just trying to be saved. And then all of a sudden I see this light, and it was like so bright, and it was like kind of majestic. And I just didn't know what it was, but it kind of pulled me up. But when I opened my eyes, it was my brother. He had snapped out of it, and
Mhm.
he was
Mhm.
apologizing. He's like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't know it wasn't me. It wasn't me. I was like, what do you mean? I was like, I know it wasn't you. It wasn't your fault. Whatever. It's whatever I saw that was trying to break our family down. Trying to show us like, hey, your prayers aren't good enough. Your
Wow.
faith in God is not strong enough. It was like a test of faith, man. It was super scary. And then like my family, like there's another so my aunt or my cousin, I like to she's my first cousin. She lives in Connecticut. We get
Mhm.
on the phone with her. So she has the third eye also. And she goes, you were calling me and I felt you and you were weak, but your angel came down to see you. And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, close your eyes. What do you see right now? And then, how I was talking about the bright lights.
Mhm.
So the image I saw was like, before my brother's face appeared, it was like a figure of a light, but the wings were made out of beams of sunshine and sunlights, and it was like super powerful. And she goes, "Did you see that? Did you really see that?" It's like I did see it. He's like, "You know who that is?" And I was like, "Who is that?" She goes, "That's your angel." I was like, "Who's my angel?" He goes, "The one that sent you here." And she was like, "That's Saint Michael's, the archangel, because you're such a
Wow.
powerful being here. He sent you. He was sent to you as your angel." So now you know that every time you feel darkness and you feel negativity, you call upon him and you could clear that room of any kind of like ill feelings, negativity and stuff like that. And I try to avoid
Mhm.
it because the last time I did use it, I got taken over again.
Yeah.
And it's just like one thing after another. So my cousin from California this time brought a friend, and my uncle's house in Burien, there's like this it's kind of like a small little forest kind of deal
Okay.
with hell of trees, and she went wandering in it. And I guess like the story with that house was there was like three kids that were there that end up like missing or something like that or died or something, and the spirit attached to her, and she just started wigging out, right? Like we didn't know what was going on with her. And it was on my birthday, so I didn't go to the party. It was like something was telling me not to go to that house that day, because they were like, Eric, are you gonna go to the house? Da, 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 we got our relatives from California. I was like, no, it's my birthday. I'm just gonna chill. I'm not gonna go over there. He's like, you sure it's your birthday? You don't want to say anything? And I was like, no, I'm gonna chill. And then I hear about what happens to her, and so now they're calling me. They're like, Eric, we need you to come see what you could do to help or what happened. Over the phone, they go back to California. They're calling me or whatnot, and my aunt was like talking to me, telling me the backstory about what I just said, and I'm closing my eyes and I'm trying to visualize things, right? And I go, Auntie, is she in a room like in a long hallway, and at the end of the hallway there's a door? And granted, I've never been to my aunt's house because they had moved like so many times, so I've never been to this house.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a long hallway and there's just a door, and the door's where the bedroom, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I told her, she goes, yeah, 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 she's in that bedroom. She's in the bedroom right now. She's like laying down. She's not feeling good, whatever. And then something was telling me to tell my aunt was like, open the windows, make sure she gets plenty of sunlight, and let the sunlight beat on her, and just pray on her. And then while I got a video, man, and she was saying some crazy stuff, man.
Yeah.
She was like growling and snarling and doing all these things, and but by the time all that happened, it's like cleared out. Like I don't know what happened, but I started feeling like the negative effects of that,
Yeah. It's
and I
odd
was
how
just
it can
like,
travel across to
yeah,
even it
just
doesn't even
literally like
matter.
2 states away.
Yeah.
And from that moment, after that, I was spiraling, bro. I was like not in a good place.
Yeah.
I was beefing with my baby mama. We were yelling and stuff like that, and it was so crazy, bro, because that feeling of love was gone. I was just really dark, right? And we were arguing so much. She had to go and come back and went and like take a break from like whatever's going on in the house. And when she came back home, she was like, "I'm gonna try something new. I'm gonna tell you that I love you and that that you mean everything to me." And,
Mm-hmm.
from there, I would have snapped out of it and be like, "I love you too," but I couldn't. I was laughing. I was just
You were
giggling. I
still
was like, "It's like you don't love me," just being stupid. It's like I didn't know. And but the thing is, like, I didn't know I was saying that.
yeah.
And it got to the point where it's like super super bad that I was just really negative. I was getting really like vocally loud and abusive. And as I was driving away, I had to go pick up my mom like I usually do. Something in my head was telling me to like drive into a wall. It's like just turn the wheel and everything would be over. You don't got to think
Wow.
about it. You don't got to think about it. Just turn the wheel. You know what I'm saying, on the freeway. And my head was like, no, no, no. I'm calling my brother. I'm calling. I was like, Quinn,
Hmm.
I need help. I need you to pray for me. I don't know what's going on. And then like snap back into it. I was being an asshole. I was like, you know what? Fuck this shit. You guys don't need me, whatever. And then at the end of the conversation, he goes, Eric, I love you. And I just hang up the phone. I don't say it back. So I get to my mom's house, and my mom, I guess, whatever, my baby mom has been talking to my mom, say, oh, Eric's been acting crazy, whatever. So you got to be careful. And my mom, like I said, she's like really chill. She's not going to confront me about anything. She's like, why are you doing that? Why are you acting this way? She goes, Anak, what's wrong? Son, what's wrong? I go, oh, nothing, nothing, nothing. And I'm like hissing. But, I don't hiss. Like, what am I?
Mm-hmm.
Am I a snake?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, just, rocking back and forth in the car, just hissing and stuff like that. And my mom's trying to talk to me. I'm like, nah, I don't even want to talk about it. I don't even want to talk about it. And then we pulled up to the house finally. And in front of my sister's house, like I said, we're very heavy um, Catholics, right? She has a picture or a tile of the Virgin Mary and another tile of Jesus. And I'm staring that down. And my mom's like, go inside the house. I'm like, I'm not going in there. Fuck
Uh-huh.
that. Fuck this.
So you're
Just
going
hell
in
and
and
back.
out. You're kind of just going in and out of
Yeah, I'm just going in and out
this
at this point.
personality and okay.
And so I call her again. Okay, I have to open the door. As soon as I just open the door, I'm gonna run inside. I had to get
Mm-hmm.
inside, bro. I had to
Yeah.
get inside this house. So I run inside the house, and I stop right in front of the statue or the Santo Nino.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I'm silent. I'm silent, and now I'm just like super mad. I'm hella angry.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know what it was, but that soul, that demon, that entity that was inside of me, I just remember being on the ground, and when they tried to hold me down and put holy water on me and put that salt around me, that I'm not the strongest person in the world. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? I'm not even
Mm-hmm.
strong at all. But tell me, why was I able to get up off my knees and like lift them all up, bro? Like I don't know what kind of
Fucking
spirit
nutty,
that
bro.
was. Yeah, And so like they were trying to trick me with the holy water and everything. Like drink. I was like, hey, you gotta drink this, Eric. You gotta drink this. I'm like, I'm not drinking that. You kidding me? Well, I'm not drinking that. Just refusing any kind of help. Went to church the next day. Asked for I asked to speak to the father at St. Anthony's down here in Renton. So like he was like super busy, but as soon as the front lady had texted him, he replied super quick. I was like, oh dang, he's like, yeah, he's ready to see you. I was like, oh man, thank you so much. And he was just telling me, he's like, oh boy, you know what I'm saying? You just really went through something real crazy and you're looking for help, right? He was like, your soul is lost. You've been going through a lot of trauma or whatever. He was trying to tell me. He's like, do you pray? And I'm like, honestly, Father, not really, because at this time I felt like the Lord has abandoned me. So I was looking towards the universe. I was like asking the universe and learning how to, manifest stuff, and it's been working. But he's like, yeah, when you manifest and you said you haven't been praying, just remember who's answering those manifestations. And I was just like, oh damn. And he got really deep. He goes, you say you pray, you look upon the universe for answers. He goes, my son, guess who created the universe? And he goes, God did. So remember that. And then everything just snapped. And I was like, oh man, you know what I'm saying? Just woke me up. I was like, you're right.
So your time with him at that point really was, so that was the ending. That was the cleanse,
That
or
was a
that was
cleanse.
you
Yep.
kind of just coming out of it. And he
Hmm.
didn't really do anything special. He just gave you an internal realization.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, no,
That's
I'm not
wild,
going to hit
man.
you with I'm not going to
After
do
all,
no prayer, no holy water. I'm not
no.
going to make you drink, the blood of Christ, or have you eat the bread,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
body of
yeah.
Christ and whatnot. He was like, no, this is what it is.
Yeah.
And I was just
That's
like, oh,
crazy, bro.
damn.
That's
That was,
that's that's exhausting just to even this, just to hear it out, as far as like, man, what's gonna be next? It's like, where's this gonna go? And it's like, maybe he's still the dude, but that's why, because he's dressed up like this. But no, it was like, and for you to actually have gone through that, and the pain and just the confusion, how everybody was like kind of looking at you.
mhm.
Yeah, yeah. And there's
Physically, mentally, spiritually, I was exhausted. I've
a lot
never
of
felt that
apologies to go
exhausted.
around with that one too.
Man.
No, no, you know what's wild? Because like I was listening to you, and like all the feelings and all the things that you had mentioned, and just it matches up. Everything that you were talking about and how you reacted to that. But then I was more of an outside looking in, kind
Mhm.
of experiencing it with relatives. And my story was basically, I'm not gonna name specific relatives because I want to be very sensitive to them, because I haven't really passed this through.
Yeah.
The first time was like when I actually got here, and this really matches up with a lot of stuff that you talk about. I got to the US when I was 6. I turned, and right when I got to the US, I turned 7, and I was staying with I'm gonna just say my grandma and some relatives. And
Mhm.
so basically I'm just watching TV. It was in the evening with one of my relatives, and this relatives, it was very easygoing, just kind of chill, whatever, nothing out of the ordinary as this person. But then I started hearing some grunts, and some like aggressive like murmuring right
Mhm.
beside me. And I kind of just look, and mind you, I haven't really hung out with this person at all, like a whole lot. I know
Yeah.
they're a relative of mine. I haven't hung out with them because I just got to the States. And I kept looking, and I kept looking, and the demeanor totally changed. And it was just like a lot of this, and
Mhm.
and then all of a sudden crying, and then kind of like snickering, and then kind of like, whoa, what's going down? And I come from, I wasn't from province. I'm from Metro Manila, which is basically very, just a lot of poverty around me during that time. So I wasn't really exposed to a lot of this spirituality stuff, right? Growing up, and I was only 6. So, but I've heard of it. So I'm sitting there looking. And
Mhm.
so I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to come back because I'm gonna go get Lola at this one. So I grabbed my grandma. And by the time we get to the bedroom, and this is just a normal night, man,
Yeah.
she's like clawing at the walls. She's sitting there just going like this, and then just clawing, going like this, clawing. And my grandma, and she's crying, and she's kind of like speaking in tongues, but it was so you couldn't understand it. It was more growling and
Mhm.
like this, and then like
Right.
that, right? That's what I remember. And I'm sitting there like, dude, this is US. It's like y'all act like this. But
Yeah.
then my grandma said, and she knew exactly what was going down. So she basically took her top, and she had like an undershirt under. She ripped out, like she basically took her top off. She goes, run to the kitchen, turn on the kitchen, the thing, the stove, and hold this over the stove as long as you can, as long as you're able to, and then run back over here. So she's sitting here. She was like kind of like aggressively pulling her, and then all of a sudden, and I go there, I'm like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, man. And she's saying, my grandma's saying prayers in the bedroom, and then I go back and I'm holding this, this top, her top, and she's sitting there crying, 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 and my grandma starts wiping her down, and saying prayers and everything like that. And as my grandma is praying, I'm standing there, and my grandma was talking to her like this, and she would talk to behind her, and it's like saying, go ahead and leave now. It's like, you've already done so much, so much pain. You've already like bothered her. Stop saying hi, or stop visiting over here. And then she would go back and do this. And so it was basically, this was the motion, and like she tried to break free, and then this was the motion. My grandma's like 4'7", 4'8", of nothing, right? But she was sitting there. She was very strong as far as like her will. And so this went on for, I want to say, about like 15-20 minutes. And I sat there the whole time. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I was just ready to reheat. That's all I could have. I was just ready to reheat. And then all of a sudden it started, it kind of subsided, but it went, that person, that relative still wasn't back to normal. They would just still be walking around the house. And my grandma basically had said, and was talking to her and explained to her what happened. And she had like no recollection of it, but she was still like rude. That's really rude. She was talking about like, it's like, aren't you supposed to be in the kitchen cooking and all that stuff? She was like aggressive.
Hella aggressive.
That's not that person, right? But then she was explaining to her what happened. It was basically, your uncle was here and he brought another person, and they came he's basically showing you off to this other person and they're saying hi, and, and I told him to leave. And so was her brother that, that had, my grandma's brother that had come and visit. And she was like, I told them to leave. They're being rude. They didn't want anything, they're just, and they're not being, just harmful or anything like that. So they left. But then she remained like that. My relative remained like that. And I was like, oh my God, for the rest of the night. And I noticed it. So that was my first part of it. But I'll tell you, it's like my grandma set me aside and she was like, how did you feel? And I was like, I felt and I told her, and I didn't notice it. And she was like, did you feel really warm, like in that room? And I thought it was really like the situation. She was just like, did you feel warm? I was like, yeah, I felt really warm. And I felt really like just sad, very heavy sadness. She was like, okay. I thought you were going to understand the situation. And that's exactly how you would have reacted. So fast forward about, I don't know, about like 10 years. No, about like 10 to 15 years. I'm going to say another relative that I was hanging out with. We were at, and this person was about around the same age as me. We were hanging out over at the homie's house and everything like that. And then all of a sudden the homie went, it's like, yo, your relative, I have to say relative. Your relative is bugging out in the room. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? And so I go in there and they're just laying down, and she's like, and they're like this. And saying in tongues. I'm like, shit. Am I gonna have to do this right here? Because I knew exactly, and I looked at the homie, and I'm like, it was this house, and I was like, what's going on in this room? And he was like, I don't know. This is, I was like, well, this was my grandpa's room before. And, and he, and I was like, he just passed away. And I'm like, not too long ago. And I was like, what do you mean, dude? And then I was like, yeah, there's usually a door here, but then the door's at, and I was like, are you kidding me right now?
Yeah.
So I was like, are you kidding me right now? And I was like, all right, well, okay, do this. So I went through the motions.
Yeah.
I did it. I went through the motions, said prayers. I didn't know what prayers to say because that was so long ago. But as I was sitting there, this relative was just looking. They were just like laying down there, eyes closed, just kind of vibrating, saying weird stuff, right? And I couldn't, and mind you, I was like, I have to be brave through this stuff. And it was just, I just kind of set it aside. I was like, yeah,
Right.
whatever.
Can't
This
show
is just
any
part
kind
of
of
the
weakness,
motion.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. And this is nothing's going to happen to me. And it's not, and I didn't even really consider about anything carrying over to me or anything like that. But I was like, yeah,
Mhm.
whatever. But so that went on for a good, I don't know how, maybe like half an hour or something like that. And I
Mhm.
told everybody to just kind of like leave us alone and everything like that. And then kind of just passed. It looked like it passed. And I was like, whoa, I did that. I was like,
Mhm.
cool,
Mhm.
whatever. And, and we gone. And but this part, like, the relative was still wasn't feeling the same and very rude, cussed a lot. And
Yeah.
and this person never really cussed a whole lot, especially around like parents,
Mhm.
like just older folks. And like, what? And I kept looking at them, and I was like, what the heck, what is going on with you? It's like, and I thought we were done, and I was like, oh my goodness, we're still in this right now. So I wanted to make sure this person's blood levels were fine, so we actually took them to the to Valley,
Yeah.
right up the hill, right but down the street from you. Went through the motions, got the blood pressure and everything like that. Blood pressure was high, but I was assuming it's like maybe because they just went through all that stuff. But the whole time, this person was just, when they were taking the blood pressure, they're cussing at the doctors and all that stuff. I'm like,
Mm.
whoa, I can't take you to your house yet because you're a different person.
Yeah.
And so I, it's one of those things that I kind of didn't see it through with them. But I was like, but I was hoping and praying that was going to be, it. And I think about a week or like a few days later, I checked in. I was like, how you feeling? Did you know how you were acting? I was like, no, whatever. And I was like, ask so and so. They
Mhm.
were there with us. And it's like, no, you guys are tripping. It's like, dude. And everybody vouched. Everybody
Mhm.
vouched. But this person never really even like remembered. They never remembered. But your thing though is you're more like what do they call those ones that actually absorb and actually
I'm like a
allow it?
vessel. Yeah.
Yeah, your
So.
vessel. Me, I sense, because my thing is and this happens a lot. Like when I
Mhm.
go to a house, and then what it does is I'll just be standing there, and I've had a few episodes with my wife around.
Mhm.
I'll have kind of just this energy, this wave come through like this, and I just be kicking it like this, and we can be laughing. Then all of a sudden, it would be
Different.
warm and just severe weight of sadness.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sitting
I
there
know
like,
exactly how you feel.
and I
Yeah.
was like, what the hell is this? And it's just
Mhm.
once, and the first time it happened, I was like, whatever. And then I would ask questions about the house. I was like, yeah, was there something like that? And I was like, yeah, there's, and then it would, confirm what I was
Mhm.
feeling. It's like, yeah, yep. And that's just me. I've never really had to, I've never been a vessel,
Yeah.
and, because I wouldn't know how to get out of that period, but I have always felt it. And but lately I haven't had that. Once in a
Yeah.
while, actually, like, it's just like I just shrug it off. It's almost one of those things like, yeah, I don't even really want to fuck with y'all right now. But
Yeah.
it's
That's
like,
exactly what you got
yeah,
to do.
I don't want to mess with y'all. And if it's like, if I see one, like, because I've seen, we can always go down that path of actually seeing and actually being right next to one.
Yeah.
Um, but like now I just shrug it off, and it's just, I'm not really even trying to mess with y'all, man. Like that's really it. You exist there, I exist here. And it's just that whole weird part of like that the people after they or when they're going through that, like yours. I'm glad you shared your story, just because I never understood that other side, because
Mhm.
these two relatives were exactly how you were, not as extreme as that, because theirs eventually kind of dissipated. You had probably a lot stronger, stuff that consumed you during that point, because these other two relatives that I had, it passed
Yeah.
through, and but it took a little bit for them. Man,
So with
that's
all that
freaking
happening with you,
crazy.
like, and figuring all that out, right? Were you able to, in say now, if that would ever happen, like you said, you'd be like, "Nah, I ain't messing with you. I don't need that. Just go
Mhm.
away." So is that your way of telling them, like, "Hey, I'm not. You can't use me," right?
It's I feel that there was a point where I sat there, because and mind you, okay, so I don't, it might also be the string of like just my family having that type of gene, to where we we internalize, and we are, we're my brother passed, and
Mm-hmm.
he went through severe depression, and that kind of took him. And I have to be very, very cognizant of that when I start feeling certain things like that, right? And
Right.
the fact that I'm already kind of just yeah, I already have that, in my opinion, in my gene to where it can really bring me down. If I allow something like that to also, I mean, it's an it's an extreme like feeling to where it just like it'll just take me out of it for like that certain amount of time. The longest is I've ever had to deal with is only seconds, like 5 to 10 seconds. But it's
Mm,
so like just it's in another type of level of just depression. But the fact that I know that's what that is and I've gone through it before and I'm not going to allow it to just be like, yo, I'm not going to dwell into it. That
mhm,
allows me to control kind of just myself. Because if I actually fall into that, oh, it's a bad
mhm.
day. It's a bad
Yeah.
week. Yeah.
Oh,
And
for
it's
sure.
bad, to the point where it's like it takes over you. So that's kind of, it's it's crazy that you and I could talk at this level about that as far as experience.
Mhm,
I actually haven't really ran into it, and I didn't know that side of you, and I've never shared this with you also, and it's just
mhm, mhm.
that's crazy how we can how we connect at that level to where it's like, damn, he had that shit. He's done the opposite side
Yeah,
of what the heck I did.
yeah.
And
So
yours
you're
was damn extreme. Yours was damn
it's
extreme.
super
Mine
true. So
was
you're
just
just like
brush
my
by.
sister. You're like my sister, right? So she could kind of control and
Hmm.
kind of like tell them to go away and shoot. But like with the thing, like I said, with me and my sister, we're a pair. So
Hmm.
normally when she goes to her little trance and the spirit goes into her, it's normally because they have a message from the other side that they
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
tell loved ones, right? But me, it's the opposite. It's like, man, these demons are like, hey, I'm gonna use
Hmm.
you.
Hmm.
We're gonna cause havoc and we're gonna make you go through hell.
No.
So what I had to do is what my cousin told me. She's like, you just gotta picture this door, and then you just gotta shut it in your mind. You just gotta be like, doors closed. You can't use me. You can't come through this door.
Hmm.
You could
Hmm.
knock as much as you want. I'm not gonna let you in. But there's times where I feel like I'm wondering who it is, but I know myself, and I know the people knocking on that door is not gonna be good. You know
No,
what I'm saying?
no,
It's
you're right.
not
You're
gonna
right.
be good. They're gonna be up to something. They're gonna want to take over. They're gonna want to use me for as long as they can. But
Yeah.
thank God that my angel, who he is, being Saint Michael's the archangel, I just gotta call upon him
Mhm.
and be like, hey, I need your help. I need your guidance. I need your protection. And then
That
from
happened.
there, it kind of just goes away. And the anxiety is weird. Like you said, you're feeling
Yeah.
like sadness, and that's
Yeah.
exactly how I feel too. Because that heaviness is like
It is. It's
it's
a
it's something that
crossover
you
to
can't.
something else that
Yeah,
you
you
don't.
can't describe
Yeah.
it.
You could,
It's so crazy.
and it that you explaining that side. It explains to me after all these years the second person that that and it was pretty obvious and what was going on as far as if you
Hmm.
really want to if you allow yourself to just have that understanding of that current situation when I asked those questions for that second person, I was like, what's going on with this room? That and then he mentioned that door has always been there. I was like, dude, yeah, bro. That if oh no, that door has never been there. And we, after my grandpa passed, we put the door in. And I was like, come on, man. So
Yeah.
basically, the grandpa was there and saying, keep this door open because it's his room. He wants entry or something like that. And
Hmm.
that's my explanation of the situation. And there was still anger there. There's an anger because the relative like was like that for I
Hmm.
want to say at least a couple of days, never really snapped out of it. So that's
Did they ever
wild,
like
bro.
leave the
That's
room? Did,
wild.
did they still live there? It's like, what did they have to do to
They
get
still
over that?
I don't know if they still live. I know I'm assuming the parents are still live there because the my homies. I'm sure they've stepped out of that home.
Hmm.
As far as because they've grown out. The sons have definitely
Yeah.
grown out of it. Hope maybe the
Right.
parents are still there. I'm pretty sure. Maybe.
It's crazy. Just talking about
Yeah,
doors.
bro.
Yeah, talk about doors, right? So one of the things that led up to this whole experience that I went through with my family and my nephew and all that stuff, just going through a dark time.
Hmm.
I just remember they're like, hey, in that old house that you guys lived in, what was attached to your nephew was a little girl. And this
Mm.
little girl was infatuated with your nephew and didn't want anybody near him. Right? And so that was the reason why I was going crazy. But then they go, in that house, there's a portal. So
Mm.
now that's
Okay.
another thing. I was like, I ain't never going downstairs ever
No.
again. I'm not dealing with no portals. I could never sleep at my mom's house at all. Like I would just be spooked out because every time I go there, I feel like I'm angry. You know what I'm saying? I get like
Yeah.
so mad. And me and my nephew, I feel like we just be beefing. I'm like, man,
Yeah.
do we really got this? you'll
Yeah,
fill in against each other like this, or what's going on? You know what I'm saying? But as soon as they moved out, a little, from that house in Beacon, it
there's just
it
an
just didn't
entity.
go
There's
away.
just
It
this
no, that
level,
feeling
right?
just never went away. He
That's so
just
fucking wild.
yeah, man. It was just like, man,
Yeah,
spirits and
bro.
demons. If y'all
There,
don't believe in that,
yeah, there's a lot of
you
people that
gotta
are
you gotta
sitting
have a
there
second thought about it.
that's probably listened to us this whole time, and and they're probably like, these guys are tripping, like, or this is wild, or maybe they can connect with us and be like, yeah, it was different. Listen to that story, especially you had that fucking mask on. I'm like, this is a difference. I'm glad we did
Wow.
this with the costumes, because you got this freaking, this Jack mask on, and it made it a lot more sinister, right? But anyways, like, a lot of people are sitting there like, yeah, these guys are probably tripping, or these guys are tripping, making up shit, or like they came up with this before, before they press record. Yo, we came in. I'll tell you, preface this. We came in, and we were like, let's just press record because these costumes are hot. And we didn't really prep or anything like that. We said ghost stories, and actually led into something like this, to where there was like this connection, to where it was like, yo, you were going through that too. And that's just yet another, it's weird, bro. That's just yet another connection that I have with you, mainly because here
Mhm.
we have the same birthday,
Yeah.
24th, right?
Yeah. So mine's the
We
23rd,
have,
yours is the 24th.
yeah,
Yeah.
23rd, 24th. And then
Hmm.
we had kids about at the same time. And
Yep.
like, I've had actually, like, people tell me, it's like, yo, is E your little brother? I'm like, nah, man. It's like, you look like me? I was like, nah. I'm like, yeah, whatever. But
Yeah.
then also around that, and then you also, have this. You also have this, and you have very similar experiences. And I think you're right. There's two sides. There's I don't know if it's considered the healer. Is it considered the healer, or there's the vessel?
Hmm.
And this other relative, I would consider the vessel, and even the first relative, definitely a vessel. And it was
Hmm.
more, I think my grandma had told me also, I was like, the more vulnerable you are in your life during that time, the easier you are to be a vessel. And I think during that time, you might have had something going on, and on your end. That's why it
Yeah.
was easier for you to actually just be that vessel, because if you're strong willed, if you have a strong, internal, and you can control it a lot better, it's harder for
Hmm.
them to use you like that. And
Right.
so these two people that I know that actually got, let's just call it, possessed or used as a vessel,
Hmm. Hmm.
they're those people that I think, a little, I wouldn't call it weak, but
Yeah.
easier at this
No,
point.
it really is a test of faith and
Yeah,
what you really believe in, right? Because like I told you, my faith in God was kind of dimming away,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
I just didn't know where to turn to. And like I was researching and I was reading and I was learning more, like I said, more about manifestation. And when I was doing these manifestations, it seemed to be working. Like everything started
hmm,
getting
hmm,
better, but then it was drawing me away from my real faith and my real religion. So okay, here's my belief.
yeah,
There's one creator in God, Almighty. And for that to even happen multiple times, you could say it's kind of like an exorcism, and you're gonna have somebody there that's
yeah,
gonna have to bring you out of it. I mean, not to sound even more like kind of scary, but it's really real. Like what you experienced with your Lola having you help.
yeah, yeah,
That was like your christening into this to
yeah,
this realm, right?
yeah. Right when I was pulled into that, I was like, what's this all mean now? It's like,
Mm-hmm.
now I'm firsthand experiencing this type of, I don't know, it's craziness to me. I was just like, what is, and then also the spirituality side of things. And then it kind of turned a hard left or hard right, which way you want to consider it, to where it's like,
Mm-hmm.
now I'm a believer in this because I'm seeing it with my eyes. And then
Right.
when it turned, with the second time around, I was like, now I'm for real, because like now I'm the one that's actually, I guess, exercising at that point, and just having to
Yeah.
work through this and seeing it firsthand. And that's why I've always, you know, it's far beyond believing in, do you believe in ghosts? It's far beyond that. It's like, yes, it's absolutely, there's spirits, there's, if you want to call it spirits, if you want to call it like other type of, like, this day and age is like other type of existence and levels of
Mm-hmm.
just a dimensional type of stuff, you can call it
Yeah.
that. But it definitely, in my opinion, and what you went through and shared, again, this is unrehearsed. What you shared, it definitely
Right.
connects. It's like, yeah, how can you say it's not? How can you say it's not? So, yo, wild, bro. I didn't expect that. I didn't expect that.
Yeah, crazy. Two
Crazy,
different
crazy.
sides, you know, two different sides, two different feelings.
Yeah.
I mean, spooky or not, you know, if people are
Yeah.
feeling some kind of way, you want to ask us questions. I'm
Yeah.
more open to it. Just leave us a comment, you know, down
Yeah.
down in the bottom whenever
Definitely.
we post this.
Definitely. This is crazy good convo. And I said, like, towards the beginning of this pod, I was like, man, I don't really want to get into anything super deep because I'm sitting here looking crazy with my panda Sol outfit, and then all of a sudden you turn into Willie Nelson from being Jack.
Wet Willie. I'm Wet Willie now.
I know you
I'm
sweating it out.
sweaty.
But yo, real talk, like, so the folks out there, like, listen, man, if you don't, I understand there's so many different people that would be listening to us. You know, I'm assuming at this point, and I'm hoping that, you know, you all are out there kind of just listening. But I know different people, different types of mindsets, different types of how they see, even spirituality versus, just the other side of that. I don't know what you believe in and everything like that. But I got to tell you, it's like how this kind of just moved on through, and how he had shared himself. This was supposed to be a ghost story type of a thing, but it actually transitioned into more. I mean, it wasn't really as scary, because if you're actually in the trenches and those things and actually going through it, I don't know how much fear is involved into that. It's more weakness, vulnerability, sadness, and and anger, and just trying to get out of it, right? There's really not a lot of fear. And that just shows you, it's like a lot of the stuff that we actually are fearing out there, it's just a matter of just dealing with in other types of emotions. And in this particular episode itself, it's like we didn't expect this. I didn't expect it to go this deep and everything like that. But I guarantee you, nothing was rehearsed for this whole thing. This was all very, like, we were very vulnerable to y'all, and then and very just open. And this is just straightforward. If you guys have any questions at all whatsoever, and if you also have this uniqueness about you, and these things that you share with us, I'd love to hear about that. We'd love to talk about it, because this show is about that. It's reaching out, talking to community, finding common ground. And if common ground is this, let's talk about it. That's what this
I would
podcast
love
is
to
for.
hear those stories for real, and like kind of relate and see how
Yeah.
we could help each other out. Because sometimes I'm asking these questions all the time. And if we could have like a small little community or a conversation about it, that'd be dope. So that way we could, uplift each other and kind of figure out like, oh, this is,
and that's definitely the dope part. Definitely the dope part. The stuff, the trials and tribulations you went through, and all that stuff that I went through at that moment with just that battle. Let's just call it a battle.
It is a battle,
getting out of it. Like at the very end of it, and look where we're sitting at right now. It all leads out to positivity and like just uplifting other people around us. And I think that's dope, man. For those, again, I'd hate to after all that, I hate to push one more time, but this, if you have watched the full thing of this, that's obvious that you're actually on YouTube. We very much appreciate that. If you can, go ahead and just press the like button and press the subscribe. We're trying to get to a certain goal of X amount of subscribers. I might have mentioned it earlier, but once we get to that, I'll make it worth your while. We got something for you, and we'll figure out a way to actually get it out to you. All right. I know we've got plenty, because I was loaded with other stuff that I wanted to talk about, as far as maybe we might have to make a part 3 of this, because I'm gonna chop this up. But you have anything else for me, bro?
Man, no, I think I'm all good right now. Just feeling
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. I know. Halloweeny, I guess what you want to call it. I don't know, but this was a crazy episode. I didn't think it was gonna go this way, but man, like you said, it wasn't rehearsed. All we're sharing with you is like our experience, what we went through. And with Raymond, it was starting at the age of 6. At me, I was telling a ghost story with the Capri and stuff like that. I was
at around that 6 was crazy. Or 7 too, right?
But now we found this common ground of what we both went through, and it was if anybody feels like they could relate, we totally would love to hear about it.
Dope. All right, bro. Enjoy your week. We've got a few more shows coming up, so a few more interviews coming up actually this week. So stay tuned. Peace, y'all.
There you go.